Stoicism is an ancient philosophy that originated in Athens, Greece, around the 3rd century BC, with thinkers such as Zeno of Citium. However, this philosophy reached its deepest and most influential form with the great Roman masters, especially Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus. Although these figures lived over 2,000 years ago, their teachings remain alive and highly relevant in our modern society. We live in a time saturated with information overload, social pressures, economic crises, and various uncertainties, circumstances that often leave human beings disoriented and anxious. It is in this chaotic context that the lessons of Stoicism emerge as a beacon, offering precious tools to develop emotional balance, inner strength, and clarity of thought that help us make wise and just decisions in everyday life. In this video, you are invited to a deep immersion into the most extraordinary quotes from these Stoic masters, understanding not only what they really meant but, more importantly, how we can apply these teachings today to transform the way we face adversities, fears, joys, and every small challenge life presents to us. Prepare to cross time and open the doors to ancient wisdom for a more resilient, serene, and meaningful existence. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor and the art of thinking. Marcus Aurelius was much more than a simple Roman ruler. He was a dedicated philosopher and a man committed to the incessant pursuit of virtue and reason. Born in 121 AD in Rome, he was educated from an early age in a privileged environment, surrounded by tutors who taught him not only grammar and rhetoric but also the depths of Stoic philosophy. His meditations, written not to be published but as an intimate and daily exercise, reveal his constant effort to live in accordance with rational and ethical principles despite the pressures and calamities he faced. One of the most highlighted phrases that still echoes today is, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This phrase is an invitation to mental control, showing that it is not external events that determine our well-being, but how we filter, interpret, and react to them. In today's world, where we are bombarded daily by pessimistic news, external opinions, and the noise of social media, this idea gains power and urgency. Marcus Aurelius exhorts us to cultivate a mental garden where only rational, ethical, and constructive thoughts flourish, removing the weeds of anxiety and negativity, since happiness and inner peace rest on the quality of the mind. Besides mental discipline, another central idea in Marcus Aurelius' thought that we must absorb is his view on the active acceptance of things as they are. Accept whatever comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could more aptly fit your needs? In other words, acceptance is not passivity or resignation but an exercise of serenity in the face of inevitable facts combined with the moral responsibility to act justly and rationally on what truly lies within our control. Today, this notion is deeply connected with modern therapeutic practices, such as cognitive behavioral therapy, which reinforces the idea of focusing on what we can change and calmly accepting what is beyond our control to avoid unnecessary suffering and develop a more mature, active, and balanced posture in life. Marcus Aurelius, therefore, was not limited to being a ruler. He was a living example that true leadership begins with mastery over oneself, even amid the greatest political, military, and personal storms. Rise and formation. Marcus Aurelius was carefully prepared from a young age to assume the imperial throne. Through a combination of personal merit and strategic decisions of the Antonine dynasty, he was adopted by Antoninus Pius, the previous emperor, consolidating his succession. During his youth and early adulthood, Marcus Aurelius accumulated broad practical knowledge in administrative, legal, and military areas. He promoted rigorous studies not only in philosophy but also in law and diplomacy, which granted him a multifaceted vision of the challenges of leading a vast and complex empire. His philosophical education was practically complemented by experience in handling public affairs, preparing him for the enormous burden he would carry as Rome's ruler. For this reason, his administration was more balanced, just, and attentive to the welfare of the people and the state, in contrast with the authoritarian and tyrannical tendencies seen in other emperors. The reign, wars, epidemics, and challenges. When he assumed power in 161 AD, Marcus Aurelius faced one of the most turbulent periods in Roman history. His reign was marked by continuous wars on the empire's frontiers, especially against Germanic and Sarmatian tribes that threatened Roman territory to the north. At the same time, the empire was shaken by a pandemic known as the Antonine Plague, which caused thousands of deaths and severe social and economic impacts. Marcus Aurelius had to reconcile his philosophical and contemplative side with the reality of war, state administration, and the health crisis. During this period, the crisis did not weaken his determination or serenity. On the contrary, he sought to literally apply Stoic principles, maintaining calm among soldiers, encouraging justice among his allies, and governing with an unshakable sense of duty. His initial partnership with co-emperor Lucius Verus also reflects his pursuit of internal balance and stability, trying to avoid excessive centralization of power and guarantee administrative continuity amidst chaos. The Meditations, personal philosophical work. Marcus Aurelius wrote his meditations during moments of solitude and theoretically for his own use only, as a kind of intimate diary where he noted teachings to strengthen his mind and soul. These texts show the constant internal battle between reason and emotion, the effort to cultivate virtue and serenity, and the recognition of life's impermanence and the inevitability of death. He emphasizes the importance of controlling thoughts, accepting events that cannot be changed, and the need to act with justice and compassion. It is remarkable how, even facing the greatest external challenges, Marcus Aurelius took time to examine his own soul, seeking to be a moral example for himself and for those he ruled. The Meditations have become one of the most influential ethical manuals in history, translated into many languages and used as a guide for an ethical and disciplined life throughout the centuries. The Stoic general, leadership in the field. Beyond his philosophical and administrative role, Marcus Aurelius was an active and respected military leader. He spent much of his reign on the front lines of battles, leading his troops in difficult campaigns against barbarian invaders. His behavior as commander reflected military discipline combined with the serenity of the philosopher. He was rigorous, demanding, but also just and concerned with the welfare of the men under his command. It is especially impressive to consider that during these long campaigns in hostile regions, he continued writing his philosophical reflections, showing the fusion between thought and action, contemplation and practice. Marcus Aurelius demonstrated that courage and perseverance are inseparable from a well-governed mind and that true leadership lies in the ability to maintain balance amid life storms. Governing with virtue and responsibility. The emperor's political and administrative decisions were always grounded in his pursuit of virtue. He believed that the role of emperor was not for personal benefit or that of a privileged group, but for the just administration of the empire and the protection of the people. In a context marked by corruption and excesses in many other parts of the empire, Marcus Aurelius stood out for ethics and commitment to justice. He acted with moderation, avoided unnecessary luxuries, and sought to maintain close and humane contact with all layers of society. His vision of virtue transcended the personal. Governing was an extension of his philosophical effort to live according to reason and justice. This moral stance elevated his reign to a standard recognized even by historians who came after his time. A life marked by personal challenges. Despite being virtuous and strong, Marcus Aurelius was not spared the pains of life. He suffered the loss of several children in childhood, a profound grief reflected in his reflections on life's transience. Additionally, his relationship with his son and successor, Commodus, was marked by tensions, as the latter did not share his Stoic values and became a tyrannical and unstable ruler. These family difficulties certainly marked the emperor and his meditations, where impermanence and the inevitability of human suffering are constant themes. These experiences show that, even someone with his formation and virtue, had to deal with the complexities and pains of human destiny, and his attitude toward them is one of the greatest lessons for the world. The enduring legacy. Marcus Aurelius is remembered as the greatest example of the philosopher-emperor, a figure who managed to unite power, intelligence, and ethics in an exemplary way. His legacy extends far beyond the boundaries of time and culture. His teachings inspired thinkers of the Renaissance, political leaders of the Enlightenment, and have been recovered by contemporary psychology in the fields of mental health and personal development. Stoic philosophy, through Marcus Aurelius and his colleagues, remains an endless source of inspiration for those who wish to live with more awareness, serenity, and purpose. The current importance of Stoic philosophy. In today's context, where the pressures of daily life can easily undermine peace and mental sanity, the teachings of Marcus Aurelius reappear as solid truths and transformative tools. His insistence on mental discipline, acceptance of adversities, and cultivation of virtue resonates directly with the needs of contemporary people seeking methods to face stress, anxiety, and uncertainties. Many modern techniques for psychological well-being explicitly dialogue with Stoic principles, reaffirming that the pursuit of controlling thoughts and focusing on the present is a path to emotional freedom. Final reflection. The story and thought of Marcus Aurelius challenge us to live a life guided by reason, justice, and serenity in the face of tribulations. His existence is an invitation for each of us to become true rulers of our own thoughts and actions, constantly seeking virtue as the path to true happiness. Looking at his journey, we realize that the millenary wisdom of Stoicism is not outdated but today shines as a light illuminating the darkest paths of human existence, helping us maintain calm, strength, and meaning amid a turbulent world. May his example also inspire your personal journey toward a more integral, strong, and fulfilling life.